Hachioji Castle ruins are located not far from Tokyo in Hachioji City. In 1590, this was the site of a brutal battle which saw the Hojo clan fall to the powerful forces of Toyotomi Hideyoshi. To avoid capture, the families of the defenders took their own lives in a brutal fashion. Today, this spot is said to be one of Japan's most haunted. My name is Kevin O'Shea, and welcome to the Supernatural Japan podcast. In each episode of this podcast, I bring to you the supernatural, strange, quirky, and dark side of history of Japan you might not hear about anywhere else. In this episode, we are going to talk about the hauntings at the ruins of Hachioji Castle near Tokyo. And first of all, I have to admit that I had never heard of this haunting or hauntings until I read the book Yorei Attack, The Japanese Ghost Survival Guide by Matt Alt and Hiroko Yoda. There's a great write-up all about Hachioji Castle and their Haunted Places section. It's a book I definitely recommend. Now let's begin with learning a little about the modern city of Hachioji City. Now Hachioji City is a prominent city located in the western part of Tokyo, Japan. It has a rich history that dates back centuries. Now here's a little overview of the history of the city. Now the area that is now Hachioji City has a long history with archaeological evidence indicating human habitation dating back to the Jomon period, which was approximately 14,000 to 300 BCE. During the Kofun period, circa 3rd to 6th centuries CE, the region was part of the Musashi province, an ancient province in the Kanto region. Now, Hachioji was a prominent post town on the Kushu Kaido, one of the major highways connecting Edo, present-day Tokyo, and Kofu in Yamanashi Prefecture. As a post town, it played a significant role in the facilitating of travel and trade during the Edo period, which was from 1603 to 1868. With the Meiji Restoration in the late 19th century, Japan underwent significant modernization and administrative changes. In 1889, Hachioji was established as a town. The completion of the Chuo Mainline Railway in 1909 further connected Hachioji to the growing Tokyo metropolitan area. During World War II, Hachioji was heavily bombed by Allied forces, resulting in significant damage to the city and its infrastructure. And the war had a lasting impact on the area. After the war, Hachioji City experienced rapid urbanization and population growth. The city's proximity to Tokyo and its improved transportation links contributed to its development as a suburban, residential, and industrial area. In 1963, Hachioji was granted city status, becoming Hachioji City, and the city has continued to grow and develop as a significant part of the Tokyo metropolitan area. Now, Hachioji is home to several universities, including Hachioji City University and the University of Electrocommunications, which have contributed to its role as an educational and cultural center. Now, the city is also known for its natural beauty, with the Tama River and the surrounding mountains offering recreational opportunities for residents and visitors. Mount Takao, located in the southwestern part of Hachioji City, is a popular destination for hiking and sightseeing. And today, Hachioji City is a modern and vibrant part of the Tokyo metropolitan area. It boasts a mix of residential neighborhoods, commercial districts, cultural attractions, and educational institutions. Let's take a look at some haunted castles around Japan. Many of these will be featured in future episodes of the Supernatural Japan podcast. Now, of course, Japan has a rich history of castles, and many of them are associated with legends and ghost stories. While not all castles in Japan are considered haunted, there are several that have earned reputations for being sites of supernatural occurrences. And here are a few haunted castles in Japan and some stories associated with them. Of course, we have Himeji Castle, located in Himeji, Japan, and it's one of Japan's most famous and well-preserved castles. It's also known as the White Heron Castle due to its striking white appearance, and in episode 5 of the podcast, we discussed the legend of Okiku's Well. Now, of course, this legend is that of Okiku, a maidservant who was wrongly accused of losing one of the castle's 10 precious plates and was subsequently executed. It is said that her vengeful spirit still haunts the castle, counting the plates and wailing in despair. Now, Kumamoto Castle in Kumamoto is known for its association with the Satsuma Rebellion in the late 19th century, which led to significant destruction of the castle. Some visitors have reported seeing ghostly apparitions and hearing strange sounds, which they attribute to the spirits of samurai who lost their lives during the conflict. Inuyama Castle is in Aichi and is one of Japan's oldest surviving castles and is known for its beautiful architecture. The ghost story associated with this castle revolves around a tragic love story of Lady Katsuyama and her samurai lover, who committed suicide. Visitors have reported seeing the ghosts of this ill-fated couple wandering the castle grounds. Now in Shimane, Matsui Castle, also called the Black Castle because of its dark color, is said to be haunted by the spirit of Matsudaira Teruzumi, a feudal lord of the castle who was known for his cruelty. His ghost is said to roam the castle, and some have reported hearing disembodied footsteps and eerie sounds. Now in Shizuoka, we have Hamamatsu Castle, which is famous for its cherry blossom trees, but it is also known for its haunted reputation. Visitors have reported hearing strange voices and encountering eerie apparitions within the castle's walls, and some believe that these spirits are connected to the history of the castle and the battles that took place there. Now in Fukui, we have Maruoka Castle, and this is one of the oldest surviving castles in Japan, and it is also believed to be haunted by the ghost of a young woman who committed suicide by drowning herself in the castle's well. Her ghost is said to appear near the well, and the sound of her crying can be heard on rainy nights. Now, these are just a few examples of haunted castles in Japan. Japanese folklore and history are replete with stories of vengeful spirits, tragic love stories, and samurai legends, and many of these tales are associated with the country's historic castles. While the haunting of these castles is a matter of local legend and belief, they add an extra layer of mystique to the already culturally significant sites. Now, I'll be talking about some of these castles in future episodes of the Supernatural Japan podcast. Now, let's take a look at the battle that can be connected to the hauntings that so many people talk about today at Hachioji Castle. In the late 16th century, during Japan's Sengoku period, it was a time of warring states and shifting allegiances. Hachioji Castle was constructed in 1584 by Hojo Ujiteru, a powerful daimyo, or feudal lord, of the Hojo clan. And this castle was to be their final stronghold in their conflict with the forces of Toyotomi Hideyoshi. The castle was built on a strategic hill, offering commanding views of the surrounding region. Its design was a marvel of fortification, featuring high stone walls, intricate gatehouses, and a massive central keep. These architectural features not only protected the inhabitants, but also served as symbols of power. However, the Hojo's clan's resistance ultimately crumbled, and in 1590, the forces of Toyotomi Hideyoshi laid siege to Hachioji Castle. Despite a valiant effort to defend their stronghold, the Hojo clan was defeated and the castle fell into the hands of Hideyoshi's loyal retainer, Tokugawa Ieyasu. Now, on June 23, 1590, the Toyotomi army, numbering 15,000, surrounded the castle at Hachioji. Despite their brave and best efforts, the defenders were fighting a losing battle. Fearing of falling into enemy hands, some of the women and children of the castle went to the top of a waterfall that is on the castle grounds and threw themselves into the sharp rocks below, while other women slit the throats of their children before killing themselves. The castle fell in just one day, but the waterfall and the river it flows into was said to have ran red with blood of the dead for 3 days and nights. After the Hojo surrendered in August of 1590, Tokugawa Ieyasu, who was given their lands, ordered that Hachioji Castle be destroyed. Hojo Ujiteru would later commit seppuku on August 10th, 1590. And considering that the Hojo clan fell a mere month after the slaughter that took place at Hachioji Castle, this is seen as the last battle for unification for Hideyoshi. It is rumored that Hojo Ujiteru's wife was one of the few people to survive the battle. She spent her last days wandering the forest that surrounded the castle, playing her flute in tattered clothing, the sound echoing through the mountain. This just added more to the locals' belief that the site where Hachioji Castle once stood had now become home to many spirits. Due to the grounds being deemed as unholy, the remains of the castle went untouched by the people for nearly 316 years. And the villagers did erect a statue in 1817 to appease the tormented spirits, which simply bear the words, "Lord, have mercy on us." Now, the castle exchanged hands multiple times over the centuries, undergoing various renovations and reconstructions. It even became the residence for Tokugawa Iemitsu, the third shogun of the Tokugawa shogunate. Hachioji Castle played a role in the strategic defense of Edo, now Tokyo, and the vital Tokaido Road. Sadly, in the late 19th century, during Japan's Meiji Restoration, Hachioji Castle, like many other castles across the country, faced a period of decline and eventual dismantling as Japan transitioned into a modern nation. During World War II, the top of the mountain began to look bald due to logging, but after the war, trees were replanted. In 1951, efforts began to preserve its historical importance by declaring the remains of Hachioji Castle as a historically valuable site. And since 1977, many excavations have been done and the bridge has been rebuilt. All that is left on the site are foundations in the ground and shrines where the castle keep once stood. In 1990, the site was opened up to the public as a national park. In 2006, the castle became one of Japan's top 100 castles by Japan's Castle Foundation. Now, Hachioji Castle is considered to be the most haunted place in the Kanto region. And with the recorded hauntings that have happened here, it is easy to see how it's earned this title. Due to the amount of death and trauma that comes with war, the last moments of these spirits have been imprinted on the land, resulting in the hauntings. Many have just been sounds of the battle that have been fought over 400 years ago. Horses braying, gunshots, metal clashing against metal, the battle cries of men, and the wails and screams of women and children. Some claimed that the spirits would attack anyone who violated their resting grounds, going so far as to following people home and causing misfortune for them, their families, and friends. Hence, why, for many generations, the grounds were never tread upon. Apparently, when mist covers the mountains where the castle once stood, the sound of the castle burning could be heard. This is linked back to the siege of the castle, which is said to have taken place on a day that was either misty or had raining conditions, which also increases the paranormal activity at the castle today. Chances to experience paranormal activity at the Hachioji Castle ruins increase at night, with chances getting better with full moons, misty or rainy weather, and when the anniversary of the battle is close or has arrived. Most of the recorded activity happens around the infamous waterfall and stream, a location of such loss and death. People who have been brave enough to visit the castle ruins during the night have reported seeing apparitions of women sitting on the rocks, most likely their final moments before they took their lives by jumping. Another strange phenomenon that apparently happens on the anniversary of the battle is that the river will turn red like it did so many centuries ago. Certainly, Hachioji, with its long and storied history, has garnered numerous ghost stories and legends over the years. Now, here are a few of the more chilling tales at the historic site. There is Lady Hosokawa's Lament. The most famous ghost story associated with Hachioji Castle is that of Lady Hosokawa, the wife of Hojo Ujiteru, the castle's builder. During the siege of the castle, Lady Hosokawa tragically took her own life to avoid falling into the hands of the enemy. It's said that her restless spirit still wanders the castle grounds, dressed in white, forever mourning her lost love. The Phantom Samurai. Visitors and staff at Hachioji Castle have reported encountering ghostly samurai figures in traditional armor, silently patrolling where there were castle corridors and ramparts. These apparitions are believed to be the spirits of the loyal warriors who once defended the castle. There have also been a lot of people who've talked about mysterious shadows. Some witnesses have spotted shadowy figures lurking in the corners of what were the castle's rooms, their forms vanishing as soon as they are approached. These spectral figures add an eerie ambiance to the ancient fortress. The Cursed Well. There's a well within the castle grounds known as the Cursed Well, and it's believed to have been the site of tragedy during the castle's history. And it's said that those who peer into its depths may catch a glimpse of unsettling apparitions. Phantom horses. Visitors have reported hearing the thundering hooves of phantom horses within the castle grounds. Despite there being no visible horses in sight, these ghostly sounds add to the spectral aura of the place. Today, visitors of Hachioji Castle ruins can explore the site, which has been partially reconstructed and restored. Whether these ghostly encounters are attributed to the tormented souls of the past, residual energy imprinted on the castle stones, or simply the power of collective belief, they continue to haunt the imaginations of those who venture to Hachioji Castle. Whether you believe in these tales or not, there's no denying that the history and atmosphere of Hachioji Castle make it a place where the line between the living and the supernatural often blurs, leaving visitors with an eerie sense of wonder and trepidation. As I mentioned near the beginning of this episode, inspiration and some information come from the book Yodei Attack, the Japanese Ghost Survival Guide by Matt Alt and Hiroko Yoda, as well as other sources that I've listed in the show notes. Everyone, thank you so much for listening to another episode of the Supernatural Japan podcast. Come and join our growing community on our new Facebook page. The link is in the description in the show notes. Come on over and like or follow us there. You can email me with any comments, ideas, or stories at supernaturaljapan@gmail.com. Follow the podcast over on Instagram at supernaturaljapan. There's also a lot of just really cool Japan photos over there. Follow me, Kevin O'Shea, on Twitter at MadForMaple. I'm extremely active in that space. And of course, episodes of this podcast are going up on the Busan Kevin YouTube channel. And again, those links are all in the show notes. Now, you can help us grow. First, leave a rating and a review wherever you listen to us. Help us get noticed. And we appreciate you helping our podcast grow by sharing us on your social media and telling like-minded friends about the podcast. If you're a member of any big Japan-related Facebook groups, please share our episode there. That would help us get new listeners. Well, I hope you keep things spooky, and we'll be back very soon with a brand new episode.